Welcome for a new episode of Wave On. We're at episode 22. I'm Misty Marcum, your host here in Sylvan Lake, Michigan. And today I have Eric from Nozou, his brand that he has developed around paddleboarding. And we talk all things paddleboarding. I was super inspired after this podcast. I loved talking to him. I loved hearing his creative spirit and just energized to be a part of the SUP community and just all the people that he's even met, and same for me, all the people that I've met during this podcast, and being able to share their stories. So I hope you guys are enjoying. But in this podcast, we talk a lot about creativity, paddleboarding, and Eric shares his. If you're looking for a new SUP bucket list paddle, he shares his recent trip out to Horshoebend and Antelope Canyon, part of Arizona and Utah, and I saw some of his pictures. There's absolutely amazing, that red rock and paddling near it and seeing all of that. So he's super interesting dude, has a lot of inspiration to share, and I mean about his, even how he developed his product through Nozou. If you're a paddleboarder and you need a strap, listen to this story about how it's more than just a shoulder strap to carry your paddleboard. It's way more than that. And he's gone beyond even the colors and the patterns and everything. So, like I said, I was super inspired after this podcast, and I think you guys will be too. And, if it's your first time listening, give it a subscribe. If you're liking the content, just keep coming back. We have a guest every week, and I've been super inspired by even bringing this podcast out there, and guest every week. Sometimes they're not a paddleboarder, and that's okay, because we're keeping it interesting. It's an interesting podcast. So anyway, let's dive right in. Before we get into it, lunamoonsupyoga.com. Go there to the retail page. We have classes that are starting to form. So this month are the first classes, and we have a code Luna10 to use for your lip balms, your eco brand. We've got the SPF pineapple colada. Go check it out. Eric, welcome to the podcast. It's nice having you. I'm glad you decided to come on and share all the things, and you've got your brand that you're going to talk about. But yeah, thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me here on your podcast. I'm super excited to be on here. I'm super humbled for the invite. Ready to talk anything, all things water sports, whatever you want, you name it.
Oh yeah, well, I know you have a lot to share for sure.
I've had a couple life experiences. Have a little business we're starting to start right now. So yeah, we can talk whatever you want.
Yeah. So you're in Colorado, right?
Yes.
Colorado.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. What an awesome place to be.
Oh man, it's perfect. There's like mountains, there's your rivers, your lakes. We've always kind of talked about, like, if I was in Colorado, like where would we go? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just love having everything so close, like the mountains, your lakes, your plains. Like there's a lot of everything like here in Colorado, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Do you go a lot of the well, you had some experience actually river rafting, right?
I did actually. So back when I was in college, one summer I was like, I'd always been kind of drawn just to like the water, like the river, and I was like, man, I really want to. One of my goals, just like even like growing up as a kid, I was like, I really want to be like a raft guide. Like I don't know why I had that goal as a little kid. I think it was because my dad, as a kid, he took me to a IMAX movie that was about the Grand Canyon, and then people going through there like rafting and kayaking. And like ever since I was a little kid, I was like, wow, that is like the coolest thing ever. And so once I got to college, I was getting almost ready to go into like my current career, and I was like, I kind of want to change things up, and I really want to do this before I'm really not able to. And so end of the year, I called up the company. I was like, hey, are you guys taking any raft guide classes? Can I like join? And they're like, yeah, for sure. Like we have an opening starting on Monday. And this was like on a Friday. I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this.
Nice.
And so, yeah, so with the raft guiding, you like do class. I took a class, like it was like a month long of just maybe 2 months of just rafting every single day. And so, like when we were out there initially, I had no idea really what I was doing. I was like, this is so awkward, but I love it because we're out here on the river all day. And then, so yeah, you get through it. And towards the end of it, to graduate, the instructors, they take you out to one of the bigger rapids that we do there. So I did in Glenwood Springs here in Colorado on the Colorado River. And so they take us up to these class 4, 3, 4 rapids when the water's a little bit higher. And to graduate, you have to take your whole crew down. And so I was like, okay. And so on the way up, like we're on this bus with everybody, and the instructor's like, all right, Eric, you're up. You're the first one to take us. And I was like, inside, I was like, oh my God, like everybody's going to go swimming today.
Oh boy.
But I was like, yeah, sure. Like I got this. And so,
Sure.
yeah, we started going down the river and hit some of the big rapids, and somehow like nobody like went off, did it successfully. And I
Beautiful.
passed and started taking people down the river all
Awesome.
summer long.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's really cool.
And yeah, and it was like one of the funnest summers, and had a lot of great experiences. I met a lot of cool people, and it was just a nice kind of change of pace from everything I was doing, and just like I say, something about being around water, just kind of its healing powers, or just like being able to make friendships. And I don't know, some like the best memories I've had were probably from that summer. Gosh, even there's this one memory that like always kind of comes back to me. It was actually on my last day on the river guiding that summer, and it was this family, and there was this mom and her 2 little boys and a little girl, and I took them down, having a blast. It's like, yeah, like trying to keep it exciting for them, even though the water was at a lower level, not as big rapids or whatnot. And so then we get to the calmer areas. I let the kids kind of take over the road, like oars, and so they're messing around, having like an awesome time. And so when we get back to the boathouse, the mom, I see her coming towards me, and you can see she's kind of like a little like teary eyed. And I was like, oh man, like what's happening?
Mm.
And so she's like, hey, Eric, I just want to tell you, like, thank you. And I was like, oh yeah, of course. And she's like, it's been a couple months since I've seen like my kids like laughing, having a good time. Like I used to take my kids with my husband all the time, rafting and doing this kind of stuff. And until he like passed away like a couple of months ago, and since then I hadn't
Oh
seen him
wow.
actually have a good time. This was the first time like having an awesome time laughing. And then like she just started crying, and like I was like there, we were pretty much like bawling together, like, oh, like giving each other a hug. And
Uh
like I just still like remember that vividly. And I remember like one of our other guys was like, Eric, like that's like what it's all about. And I was like, no, for sure. And like those type of like memories and things that happened,
yeah,
because being in a sport like rafting or paddleboarding, you name it.
right.
And so, yeah, it was an awesome experience, and like just great memories that even to today, like I still remember and look
Yeah.
back at.
Yeah, it is what it's all about. It's very humbling and rewarding, and
Mhm.
as a teacher myself, and things that I've witnessed and came across, and
Yeah.
it's always a different experience every time, which
Hmm.
is no joke, right? Like it's always
Yeah.
different, right? Like
Yeah.
the water's different, the weather can be different, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's what keeps it unique and challenging too, right?
No, exactly. And that's why I'm like super excited now that have like the chance or opportunities now with like Nozou to continue kind of an excuse to be out on the water all the time.
Yeah.
Because even after that summer, I was like, I actually didn't return to the water for a long time, and every time I'd like drive by the river or a lake, I was like, oh man, like I wish I was out there right now, kind of thing. So it's been awesome, like now, like being able to be out there pretty much as I can, especially now that the weather's getting warmer.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
it's nice mental release.
Yeah, although like I've thought about definitely like doing some more winter. I need to get the gear though because it gets kind of cold over here. I'm assuming over there with you too.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty icy.
don't you snowboard or something?
So I do snowboard, and so yeah, growing up, like I was always in like skate. I used to skateboard a lot as a kid,
Yeah.
snowboarding, and I think that's another reason why like paddleboarding like kind of excited me. I was like so drawn to it because of that, the being like on a board, like on water.
Yeah.
And even like the last couple of years, I started seeing like people going down the river on paddleboards, and I was like, that is awesome. I want to do that. So I haven't done it yet, but I think that's a goal of mine this summer.
You haven't taken the paddleboard on the river?
So I've done like I guess more like whitewater.
Oh, okay,
Um,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So,
different.
yeah.
Very different.
So actually, like speaking of being on a river, this last month we did like a pretty epic paddleboarding trip down in Utah and Arizona, and it
Nice.
was amazing.
Yeah.
I think actually, yeah, we're in Lake Powell. I believe Lake Powell actually has been rated like up there on like some top like paddleboarding destinations, and so we were excited to go check it out, like Antelope Canyon, and
Yeah.
then we also did Glen Canyon Dam. So it's like the Colorado River. It's like 15 miles, and it goes through Horseshoe Bend. I don't know if you've seen pictures of Horseshoe Bend. A lot of people kind of take pictures of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
we were like down there, did like a 2 day paddle trip, camped out on the river. That was quite the experience, actually.
Wow. Some of those places, did you have to deflate the board and then blow them up when you got there? How did that work?
So for the actual river part, I had to call ahead and call this company. They ported you. They take you on a boat. So you inflate your boards, get it all ready at
Oh.
the launch ramp. So you launch at Lee's Ferry, which is like the gateway to the Grand Canyon, and
Mhm.
so that's where everybody launches to go through the Grand Canyon. And so there you get on a boat, and they take you all like the 15 miles up towards Glen Canyon Dam. And so you have your boards all like pumped up and ready to go, all your gear, you put it in the boat, and they haul you up.
Okay, because I have seen it in some of those places. You have to like hike to it,
Hmm.
and then you blow up the board or whatever, and it
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I know, you know what, and I've been out to Arches and out and to the trails jeeping out in
Hmm.
Utah. So
Oh, it's
I
beautiful up
have
there.
seen some of those tight places, you know, to like try to paddle through,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I used to always kind of try to imagine it, and then I do remember seeing a video. God, it's been a while since I've seen it, but they
Mm-hmm.
were kind of doing that where they were like hiking with it and then like, getting it ready
Yep.
to go in the water.
Yep. Yep. No, it was cool. And like even in like Lake Powell, there's Antelope Canyon. So you take your paddle boards. I think it's like a 2 mile trip into the opening of Antelope Canyon.
Yeah.
And so once you get there, you get off your board and you just hike like maybe like a mile or two. And that's where you get to like these like slot canyons. I don't know if you've seen those, like really like soft, like sandy, like
Yeah.
sandstone. Yeah. So yeah, we did that too. And that was amazing in itself as well. Because actually right now, due to COVID, there's two sections, the upper, I believe, and lower of Antelope Canyon. So the other section is closed right now due to COVID. And so the only way right
Oh.
now to actually go into to check it out is if you take a kayak or paddleboard into the canyon. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
very cool.
Yeah, I remember the first time I had been out west through actually Grand Junction to
Yeah.
Moab, and we drove
Mhm.
and we took this off the beaten path. Like it would be like the Route
Yeah.
66 version, and it went right
Yeah.
along the Colorado River. I was
That's cool.
amazed. Like
That's so
my
cool.
head was in the window of the car, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
totally
It's
looking at
almost like you're
absorbing
like in
it.
a different world out there. That Utah landscape is it's something else for sure.
Yeah, yeah. The red rock against the blue is just
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that's actually something we haven't done, but we want to do too. Pretty much what you did, like go to like Moab and do like the whole jeeping thing out there, because there's some awesome trails out there for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes. Yeah. We've missed it the past couple years. Well, I say just the two events. They had it this year, but we didn't go. And then
Hmm.
it was canceled last year, the whole Jeep Easter Safari event. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Nice.
maybe
Did you guys
next
make the
year.
whole drive down from where you're from?
No, we would fly, but actually the plan is to drive next year.
Nice. It'll be quite the drive.
It will be, I know, right?
Nice little road trip.
We have to get through all the flat land first.
Yeah, right.
Through the Midwest there to get out there, but
Yeah.
it'll be epic for sure.
Oh, that'll be so much fun.
I remember
Awesome.
seeing a couple of your pictures actually on Instagram, and one of the things I noticed, you had, I think it was a flag. Did you have like a, tell me about the
Yes.
flag.
Yeah. So it's definitely like a random. So it was more we did it for like our friends. So I found this company that sells like these kind of like poles, like for like almost like a safety flag for. It's actually you can put them. It's for paddleboards or kayaks. And so then I just had like a Nozou flag on it with our flag on it. So that way, like when this summer when you go with friends, like hey, like they can like, oh yeah, there's Eric right there with this flag, just to make it easier to spot us.
Nice.
And just for fun, I was like a little kid. I was like, yeah, I got my flag. I'm gonna put it on my paddleboard.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Nozou is the name of your brand.
Nozou, yeah. Yep.
Tell me about the name. How did you
So
come
the
about
name,
that?
yes. So the way I came up with the name was so a while ago, I was kind of thinking of different names, and I was like, I kind of want to make something that you can read like in different directions. It's called like an ambigram. So you can actually our name, you can actually read it like upside down.
Oh
Or
yeah.
normal. So it doesn't matter how you put it, it still says like Nozoo.
Yeah.
And so so that's how the name came about. There's not like let's say like a real like meaning to it. It was more of one of those where I was just like kind of drawing and it kind of happened. I was like, ooh, I really like that. And so
How unique.
yeah, no, definitely. And then I just happened to look on if there was a domain open for it, and there was, and I was like, oh, perfect. I'm just gonna snag that real quick.
That's cool. I like it. Very
Yeah.
unique.
And so the whole like so Nozoo that kind of started more last summer. So during the pandemic, there was a really like I guess we're still kind of in the pandemic right now, but
Hmm.
um, last year we were like not much to do, couldn't really hang out with friends. So it was just like Shelby and I was like, oh, let's like let's get out on the lake more often. So we're out there pretty much every weekend, having a good time, taking our paddle boards. And so one of the things we really like to do was get some like local beers and some food, and just kind of go out there and have our own little picnics.
Yeah.
Have a little sunset picnic out on the lake. And so one of the problems that we kept having was that our paddleboards just kind of kept separating, and so we tried all sorts of different things like putting like bungees or different straps, and like our boards don't have the D rings in the back to kind of maybe use to connect
Yeah.
or like maybe put like a strap through or anything. And so at the time I was like, oh, there must be something, because usually when you think of something, somebody's already like had a solution for it.
Hmm.
And so I looked and I was like, there really is like nothing. And I was like, weird. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just like think of something. So I started kind of like I had a little sketch pad and I started kind of drawing ideas. And all of a sudden I was like, hey, I have an idea, Shelby. I'm gonna do this. I was like, do you still have your sewing machines? Like, oh yeah. I was like, all right, can you like show me how to sew real quick?
Oh,
And
nice.
so yeah, so Shelby's like, yeah, here you go. And so she brought her sewing machine out, and then yeah, I just started making little prototypes, and we took them out one day, and it actually worked. We were able to actually hang out and be side by side, and yeah, that's kind of where the
That's
whole
amazing.
Nozoo started.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
amazing.
yeah,
But the strap is also like a carrier too, though, right?
yeah, exactly. So when I was making them, I was kind of doing some research and kind of looking around, and I noticed that there was these a lot of like paddleboard carry straps. They were all kind of like the same. They were all like this black straps, and they're kind of like the same type of material. And I was like, well, I wonder if people would like some colorful ones. Not like I know I probably would,
Hmm.
and especially like a multi-use one that you could use them to connect your paddleboards to. And so yeah, when I started making them, I added a couple more D rings so you could use them to put down your gear. So for us, that way we could take our cooler with us and strap it down since we didn't have any attachment points on the back of our paddleboard.
Yeah.
And with those same attachment points, we put like our shoulder straps. So now you're able to, carry your board, take it out to the water, and use those same straps to tie down your gear, or to use them to connect to each other, so you can kind of hang out side by side.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. I love it. Yeah,
No, thank you.
the strap, like, I know for me, when I carry my board, I think, oh, I can muscle it. I can carry my board, and I do, but it's weird how the board rubs right on my hip point, and I never show a bruise, but it hurts, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'll switch sides, then both sides now hurt. Like, oh man.
No, it definitely helps for sure. Like, especially when we're like parked pretty far away from the actual lake, it helps to kind of like put that weight on your shoulders, and kind of, if you need to also kind of like carry with your arm, just kind of distribute the weight a little bit more.
Right.
So it's been cool. It was like even a fun process kind of putting them together, because when I first started, I was just kind of even figuring out too. I was like, hey, like maybe I'll do kind of like a thinner strap, like a 1 inch, but then it was just like too thin. I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. It might not be strong enough, and might not. I just didn't like the look of it either. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do like a 2 inch strap, and I was like almost too big.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I ended up with kind of like our current size, which is like 1.5 inch strap. And even deciding what like the thickness of the straps took a little bit of testing. So it took a little while. Gosh, I think I started maybe in June, May. By the time it was like October, November is when I finally kind of had a good idea of like all the materials I wanted to use and types of buckles and whatnot.
Oh,
and
wow.
So,
that's awesome.
So it took some time, and even around October too, like, so I started making them and for myself, just not really thinking anything of it, not really thinking of a business either. It was just more just to help us out while we were out in the water. And so we started using them around friends, and friends were like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I want one. And I was like, well, sure. Like, I'll make you one. And so then I was like, well, maybe other people might want some of these too. And so around later on that month is when I started our Instagram account, and just kind of started putting it out there, and just kind of get like a gauge if this was something people would be interesting. You know, I know it's kind of like outside the box kind of idea, but I don't know, kind of surprised me. People were actually like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. Like, when are you launching? I was like, oh yeah, soon. We ended up actually launching in February. It took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but no, it was nice to have the support from a lot of people in the paddleboarding community.
Yeah.
And even now, like, everybody's been amazing. Everybody's like so loving, supportive. I have like not had like one bad experience with anybody.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I know paddleboard community is pretty fun, supportive, and I can't define it really. It's just that it just is.
No, exactly.
My experience too.
I love this community. This community is awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have started way sooner than when we did.
It's funny. I don't remember how I even really like connected with you. You just kind of like popped up one day, and I was like, oh, hey.
What are these people doing?
Yeah, check this out. I like the colors though. I really like the colors. I will say what I believe is, I have seen straps, that will hold the board, sort of what you're talking about, but you're also having the mission of accomplishing more than just that, a couple different scenarios, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing colorful like what you're doing even. So it still stands out in many ways.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, man, I feel like a paddleboarding community is like a vibrant, like fun community. I feel like people would want something that's kind of like colorful and nice, not just these like plain black straps or whatnot, And so
no plain for me. No
I
flame
mean,
for
nothing
me.
wrong with black, but like just a little different. We like to be a little different.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like dog leashes too, because I know
Mhm.
we got for our dog Luna the rough wear, at least one of them that we use. She's actually,
Mhm.
a strong puller, so we need a little bit more than that one, but on like
Mhm.
long walks. But we got one where it reminds us of Colorado. In Utah, it's got the mountains and it's
That's
orange
cool.
and like rust color and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of
No,
relatable.
exactly. And it's been cool, like how like seeing how even some people get like excited, like, ooh, like I can't wait for like your new pattern to come out. I'm like, yeah, like I don't know, it definitely fuels our motivation to like kind of get stuff out there and like try to be creative and
Hmm.
so it's cool to get like that feedback from people that like you said, like they like the cool, colorful designs, kind of something different that we're doing.
You know what's funny is the logo. I'm going back to that.
Hmm.
I don't know if you're a Jeep guy at all, and I've already talked about Jeep a little bit, but
Yeah.
like how you see those logos or those sayings on the back of the Jeep. If you see this like flipped upside down that says this, but that's like kind of what you
Yeah.
said with the logo, like.
Yeah. No matter how you are, it'll still say.
That's so funny.
Nozou.
I love it. It's
Mhm.
awesome. And the paddle destinations, it's so cool. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done one of those. I think it's like my bucket list will just keep growing
Mhm.
for sure.
Oh, oh, definitely. Like, especially seeing some of these places other people have been. Like one of those two that I'd like to do is Florida. Florida has some pretty amazing like springs out there where I just see people with like super clear water, and then there's like turtles, manatees, and crocodiles, all like or alligators swimming
Yeah.
around. Like that seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
And same
Yeah.
with Lake Tahoe, actually, that's up there too for us.
Have you been there yet?
No, I have
No.
not,
Yeah.
but it seems amazing.
Yeah. I recommend that one for sure. I always do, but it was always a big bucket list item for me, for some reason, and
Mhm.
we've made it out there a few times and
Oh,
have gone, and that actually the strap would have came in very handy at that point too, because there's like because there's so many rocks, it's just depending on where you go. There's not a lot of places to really stop. So that
mm-hmm.
will definitely come in handy for you guys, like, for photos and your branding and all of that when you're out in Tahoe. Cause
That's good to
we
know.
were eating lunch on our boards, and cause there, like I said, there wasn't really much, there's not much to stop at
Place to stop.
if you
Yeah.
get on these like long paddles. And we were on
No.
the side where we launched in Nevada, and then
Mm-hmm.
paddled down the shoreline. So another thing about Tahoe that they're pretty known for is the wood boats. So
Oh.
yeah, like Chris Crafts, there's the Sierra boat company out there, but there's
Mm-hmm.
another big boat that's out there, and it's in a garage, like a water garage, and it has like cable, like the electric cables. They don't want anybody coming
Yeah.
near it, and I think it's called I
That's
think
too
it's called the
much.
Thunderbird, but it
Yeah.
fits like a ton of people on it, and they'll take you out
That's good.
like on a night, like a Friday night or something like that, cocktail hour or whatever. But
Nice.
get a big group to go, because then it brings down the rate on on being on it. But that's what we paddled by. We paddled close to it, and then there's
That's
a
great.
old mansion that's next
Oh,
to it. Yeah.
I can only imagine out there. That's so cool. I had no idea that was out there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot to see. It's really fun. I mean, I don't. I mean, like I said, we've been out there, but I always want to go back just because there's always a lot to see.
Oh, bad. Did you guys take your own board? Did you rent
No,
when you
we
were?
we took our inflatables. Yeah, and then
That's nice.
yeah, it was really
Yeah.
nice, because I mean, what I always say, a few tidbits out of that is that you can always, you can check the bag, and then there's always enough room in that bag to put other things like a towel
Mm,
or two, or
for sure.
maybe, a compact cooler of some kind, pack it in there and shove it in there, and get away with bringing that too.
In our bags, so like we're ready to go.
Yeah.
No, so cool.
Right. And then, yeah. And then there's the strap, that's super easy. You put that in there too. And then you get, be connected.
No, definitely. It's been nice. I'm looking forward to, especially now that here in Colorado, at least it's starting to, the restrictions are going away, and a lot of friends too are getting their vaccinations. So it'll be
Mhm.
nice to be able to get like bigger groups in these little party codes and just have everybody connected and hanging out.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, that would be,
definitely looking forward to that.
yeah, that would be awesome for sure. Um, what other paddle destinations would you want to try to check out?
Gosh, there's like so many. So even down in Mexico in like the Tulum area and like they have these what's it? I forget the name of it. It starts with the B, Bacalar, something like that. So they have like
Oh,
these blue lagoons with like waters of so many different colors. And yeah, you can take your paddle boards out there, and it's just like this amazing clear water of like so, and it just kind of changes different colors, and it just looks so beautiful out there. And I was like, oh, that would be so nice to be able to paddle out there. So I'd say for us, definitely that. And I'm sure like it's kind of funny like now, like when we do vacations now, it's not just like, oh, we'll just go hang out and have like some food. Like we actually almost try to plan some paddle boarding in there, like one way or another. So like the last time we were in Austin like, before the pandemic, and like, all right, let's go, Lady Bird, let's go rent some paddle boards and go hang out and whatnot. So that's kind of how our vacations now have changed. We try to incorporate paddle boarding into it in one way or another.
yeah, definitely. And there's probably a lot of places that, you can go and that has some water, and you can try something out for sure.
For sure.
Um,
No, definitely. What about
yeah.
you? What's on top of your bucket list?
Oh, well, lately I've been dreaming about Canada, and I don't know if it's just because the border is closed and
Oh,
you're restricted, and you're just like, I want to go though.
that does look so amazing.
And probably because I haven't been to Canada in a while. I have some friends that, we're so close to the border of
Hmm.
Windsor, Ontario, and I have some friends that live just over the border. But
Hmm.
in general, with other spots to go to, I've been kind of thinking
Oh,
about it
definitely.
more often.
Like I think not too long ago, you had a guest paddleboard
Yes,
vacation. It has amazing pictures from Canada. I was like, oh, I
exactly.
really want to do that.
Exactly. That's why it's on my mind. I think that, like, Vancouver, Calgary, even where she was at in Calgary area was like amazing. And
Yeah,
then,
like some of
and
those lakes and like the mountains. Oh, looks
yeah, yeah.
amazing for sure.
That water is like ice blue. It's like got a turquoise hint to it. She goes, I do not edit any of those photos.
That sounds so cool.
I
Yeah,
love it.
someday.
I know, right? Someday. But, like I said, the out west thing too.
Hmm.
If that happens first, maybe something like that. 'Cause I know every time I was out in Moab, I'd look at the Colorado River. It was like,
Yeah,
why are there not more people out here on this water, like
I know,
doing
right?
something?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it seems like I feel like now because the pandemic and people kind of tired of being inside, paddleboarding seems to have just like blown up
Yeah.
like last year. Like it
Yep.
was such a hard time even getting any, actually any outdoor sports too. It was hard to get anything
I know.
um, that involved the outdoors.
I
I
wanted
can't
some,
remember.
you know what I wanted last year, and I thought of it like too late because we were like, I don't know why I even wanted this really, because maybe because we just had too much lake time and we were just like sitting on the dock, like, what else can we do? And I was like,
Yeah,
what about not tennis, but the paddle, I forgot, I'm forgetting what it's called. The paddle,
or I don't know.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like a oversized ping pong thing, right?
Yeah.
paddle ball, I guess is what it is. And I
Hmm.
went online and I'm looking and I was like, they don't have any. Everybody's
No,
out.
no, I know it's crazy. Like even for us, like we're last summer, we're like, oh, maybe we should get like some bikes or like some mountain bikes. We
Yeah,
look into that, and they weren't available for us until like September or something like that. And this was like
yeah.
in April, March. when we were trying to get some. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the same situation here too. You know, REI looked like a flea market of some kind. I mean, it was all picked over. There was nothing in there, no tents, nothing.
That right. Yeah,
Do you do a lot of camping out in Colorado?
we do. We do a lot of so what I like to do is I like to hike up to some high mountain lakes because I really like to fly fish. And
Oh,
so, anytime we do any like backpacking or camping, I typically try to do it like next to some sort of body of water or lake. So, especially some of the high mountain lakes here in Colorado are beautiful too, like
yeah.
super clear water, and you have these like cutthroat like trouts. They're like these the sides of them like super red. They're really
Wow.
cool looking fish. And so, yeah, during the summer we go up there, do a nice little hike up, and put our tent up and just fly fish, hang out, just kind of enjoy the outdoors, detach from kind of what the everyday grind, you know.
That's
So
awesome.
yes, it's definitely nice to just kind of recharge like the batteries, you could say.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of
it's
fun.
I imagine
I
you
was
you you must have a lot of gear.
I do have some gear, which is kind of funny though, because like growing up for myself, we never really did much camping or uh, definitely not much rafting at all, or kayaking or paddleboarding. It's one of those things. Just as now that I've gotten older, that I've really enjoyed doing, and just kind of being out in the outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's something about being outdoorsy. You start acquiring a lot of gear, like
Yeah.
of all kinds.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, and it's it's like I think it's just like a problem with like any outdoorsy sport. It's just like that initial investment, and kind of
Hmm.
you definitely have to put some money aside to get into almost any of these sports, like even paddle boarding or fly
Totally.
fishing, like you name it.
Totally.
And
My
yeah,
first my first purchase, big one was a kayak, and it was a two-person kayak that you can make into one person. And this
oh,
was
nice.
even before REI. This was like when we still had a lot more little, mom and pop
Mhm.
non-franchise outfitter stores, and I had to make a drive to go get it. And it was so cool. They had like a point system and stuff. So since I spent money on the kayak, I had also bought a nice life jacket, kayak life jacket, and
Yeah,
because that's a special style where it's shorter at the bottom. It comes
I
up,
see.
yeah, so you can sit. And
That's
then
it. Yeah.
I had some points, and it was the first Patagonia thing I bought, and it was like a little rain, like a lighter rain jacket, but it had nice zip up pockets on the outside, zipped all the way up. And I was like, wow, Patagonia, what's Patagonia? And like,
Dude, this is nice.
I know. And you know what? I still have it. I still wear it. I mean, not all the time, of
Yeah.
course. That's probably how it's lasted, but still, it brings back that memory of my first kayak and like having
That's
these
awesome.
points that I spent all this money and I got a
You know,
Patagonia jacket.
like, yeah, it's funny you say that. I feel like we've now I try when I do get something like say nicer like Patagonia or whatnot, I tend to like keep it for like a long time. I don't know if it's just because I take care of it more or whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas before I'd buy some like whatever jacket or whatnot, and after a while I'm like I don't even know where that went. And so yeah, it's kind of funny. Like now, like whenever I do buy, let's say a more expensive, even with like paddleboarding or anything, you tend to keep it. I feel like for a lot longer um, by buying that little bit better quality.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And paddleboarding for sure. You can spend more money and have something very nice, but have it for 10
Oh,
plus years.
oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? Like 20 years, right?
I mean, as long as you take care of it, it's kind of yeah. It's crazy how well like they are being built now. All the new features are coming with them. It's that technology has definitely evolved pretty quickly. It seems like.
Yeah, definitely. The materials and stuff that and the all the things, even in for inflatables, the glue for the seams and stuff. And
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know a ton about it, but I know it's definitely had gotten a lot better.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice too, like kind of going back to just like that initial investment. I mean, I guess you kind of sometimes get what you pay for, but it's nice that there's those cheaper ones that can kind of get some of those people that would normally not get in the door, like get outdoors, be able to at least try it out and see if they like it, and if they do, possibly eventually get something a little bit nicer. Um, but yeah, it's definitely nice that it seems like prices have slowly kind of gone down a little bit, just to kind of help those people that can.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, when you do like your pictures and things like that for your brand, do you find it easy or kind of a little more on the challenging side sometimes? Like, you're trying to promote your stuff, and I mean where I'm coming from with mine is it's completely different, from a product, but still it's something that you need to show like in its element and stuff.
No, definitely. It's definitely a balance, trying to balance still having a good time being out there, relaxing, not really thinking about anything, and also trying to get some content for, let's say, like social media or our website.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we're out there, sometimes I maybe for like the first couple 10, 15, 20 minutes, I maybe film for a little bit, try to take some pictures. And then afterwards, I try to just kind of be in the moment as much as I can, because
Hmm.
it's definitely hard. There's definitely times where like almost feels kind of like a job, but I don't want it to feel like a job.
Yeah.
I still want to be able to enjoy it and have fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure, totally. I mean, I love taking pictures. I have a little bit of a history of art and design and photography and stuff, but
Hmm.
I have a drone as well, and I've
Yeah, cool.
taken some shots from above, and
So cool.
it's so cool to do, but it's almost like you got to either
Hmm.
stage a class or and I was kind of brainstorming on it today. I'm like, I wonder if I
Yeah.
should make it a special event and ask some of the girls that come out a lot if they would do some photo shoot, just have fun,
Yeah.
and maybe that's what I do instead of trying to do all of it during a class, or like after the
No,
class.
definitely. And I do, there's something to be said too about kind of like, 'cause there's times where we do plan ahead. We kind of like, all right, we kind of want to do this shot or this shot, or like Shelby's kind of really good at like either like on even Pinterest or even like you could on
Yeah.
Instagram of kind of getting ideas, or like it's like, ooh, I like how that looked. Let's try something like that.
Yeah.
And so kind of saving those for like the future. So then we're out there and like, all right, let's try to take this shot. And that way, like that day is kind of like dedicated to just taking pictures or videos. So then on other times we can actually enjoy being out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so
completely. Yeah, I would agree. It's sometimes it's a challenge.
no, definitely. And even social media, it almost feels like another job, just trying to stay on top of it with all your content, and just
Yeah.
trying to build relationships with people, trying to actually be personable instead of just liking, and so just trying to like
Mm-hmm.
make connections and responding to people. Yeah, it's definitely as more that we're kind of growing slowly, like it's getting harder and harder, even
Yeah.
though we're still trying to be like as personable as we can and try to meet people and kind of talk to them and see how they're doing and whatnot.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember in the beginning, the very beginning, you don't have any photos of your classes because you're just getting started and you have this
Yeah.
new fleet of boards and everything. And I'm like, what should I do? I was like, all right, you kind of fake it till you make it. Like,
Oh, for sure, that's how we've been.
take
Even
pictures of yourself
even
doing class and whatever.
yeah, like I remember like when we first started like our Instagram, we went out one day and just took some pictures, and I try to like milk those pictures for I don't know how long.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes you got to
So
go back to that bank of photos and pull something out.
yeah,
I try to find something that I haven't used before that I'm like, oh, here.
No, definitely. And so especially once like winter time comes, I'm like, all right, I'm
Yes.
gonna have to like dig in and see what else we have.
Yeah, that's
So
what I find myself doing too. When I burn through all my my content from the summer, I'm ready for summer to start so I can have some new pictures.
no, right? So yeah, it's fun. And, like um even for like myself, before I've always on all our vacations, I like taking videos. Even before like paddleboarding and whatnot, I'd always when we're out there, we'd always be on our phone, like not always, but we'd be taking videos. So when we'd get back, I always kind of like to put like a little highlight together. And so that same thing with paddleboarding. It's been fun to get some of these videos together and put them together and make a little highlight reel. And so it's been like a nice excuse to get a little bit nicer stuff so I can get some nicer videos for our like the brand or whatnot, and kind of use that other passion of mine of kind of putting videos together. And so yeah, it's been fun doing that. I do enjoy that part of it.
Hmm. Yeah, I do too. I sometimes I get a little frustrated if I don't know, the computer's running slow and I'm like, I can't sit still. But that's just me. I can't sit still. I'm like, I gotta go.
I was on the go. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So sometimes I'm like, I try not to make it too much perfectionist,
Hmm.
but I also want it to look good too. But yeah, it's also finding that balance of, all right, spending some time with it and then letting myself take a break too and get up and, move on or come back to it tomorrow, there's no harm in
No,
that.
for sure. 'Cause, yeah, oh, man, like even those videos, it does take a while because let's say I have like a couple hours or I don't know, like an hour or 2 hours worth of videos, and you end up just making like a minute or 30 seconds worth
Yeah. Yeah,
of a
right.
video. So it takes a lot of time just kind of going through everything and organizing.
Yeah.
But it's been always been kind of worth it because let's say later on in the year, it's always kind of nice like to go back and like look at those memories, like especially like videos. So I think that's mainly why I do it, just like that nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, And always like repurposing some of the content too. I've been learning about
Mhm.
that and just like don't forget about that video. You can use that again, like here, or,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
something else creative with it. So I've been finding more like ways, I guess, to be creative about it and not get
no, for
frustrated.
sure. No, no, definitely. No.
If you had a slogan for paddleboarding, what do you think you would put on it?
Ooh, that's a good one. Slogan for paddleboarding. Um, I guess one that I always tell everybody, it's uh, like there's so like enjoy paddleboarding any way you like it. Like you can enjoy it by just hanging out, chilling, not doing anything, or you can go out there and uh, paddle your heart out, like use it as an exercise.
Hmm.
So many ways of enjoying paddleboarding, you know. So I guess for me it'd be that, or like, one I was actually thinking of yesterday is like share your passion. Kind of does the S and kind of the your and the P. I think that'd be like
Oh,
another one, especially like with what we do. Like we're always like kind of together connecting on paddleboards. So for me,
yeah.
I guess I'd say like share your passion.
Oh, I like that. That's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. So yeah,
I thought I'd throw that out there for you because it seems like you're very creative and designer like and coming up with these ideas and things around
no,
paddleboarding is
definitely.
so cool.
No, thank you so much. It's definitely been a nice way to let out a little bit of my more creative side of things, even like with some of the patterns and pictures or whatnot that we do like for the brand.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I've really enjoyed the whole process um, of like trying to build a company, a business, or build a brand. So
Have you ever had to like really coax someone into trying paddleboarding for the very first time? Have you ever like had to really sell them on the idea, or when they say, that's just not for me?
um, believe it or not, like not yet. Especially even people that I would have thought would never want to try, like let's say for example, even like my mom, she's not really like an outdoorsy person. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna take you out on the paddle. And she's like, all right, that sounds awesome. Like, and
Oh,
I was like,
cool.
oh, okay. I was like, yeah, like I'll just take you next to me. Like, we'll connect. You'll get ready. You'll kind of acclimate, get comfortable with it, and then whenever you want, you can split and you can do your own thing.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so like so far, like I haven't really had um somebody be like, no, that's not for me. Everybody's been pretty like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Or like I said, like with my mom, like, yeah, let's connect. And once you get comfortable, like you kind of go on your own.
Oh my gosh. Wow. You've kind of given me like some really good ideas here. Like with the strap, like, I
Hmm.
mean, that could be a great newbie, like you're saying,
No,
beginner.
exactly. Because did that with my niece. She's like 9 years old. Just kind
Hmm.
of take her out there with me. So she's on one side, kind of paddling. I'm on the other, and until she feels a little bit more comfortable, and then just unclip, and then I'm kind of still there with her. And then once she's like, okay, let's connect, we just kind of connect back together. So it's definitely a nice way to help like newbies get a little bit comfortable instead of just being completely out on their own.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. We have to
Think a little bit outside of the box.
totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. I might have to like maybe talk some more with you about that one.
No, for sure. Like, yeah, yeah, let's definitely talk.
Yeah.
I'll, because that's another thing too. We're wanting to like kind of work with other businesses in the industry, even like classes or people that rent out like their boards, or like, hey, like here, if you want to use some of these straps, try them out. Maybe you can use them like in your class, or maybe for your rentals in case people want to use them to carry their boards or just hang out together out there. So that's definitely one of our goals and plans this year and into the future.
Yeah. Amazing. That's awesome. Very cool. Would you have any other inspirational message you'd want to send out there? We had some people that really were excited to hear you on the podcast. I know that.
Oh, I'm like I'm super humbled to be where I'm at and have like I've met all these amazing people out like everywhere, like in the UK, Canada, the US, that have been super supporting and very loving towards us. And gosh, like I just want to say thank you to everybody. Definitely wouldn't be here without everybody's support. We're excited to grow and kind of come out with more products that can help people enjoy paddleboarding one way or another. And yeah, just excited for the future and just to be part of this community.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love it. I love the message. I couldn't agree any more either. The same, like starting this podcast and, having a guest every week and getting to meet some
Hmm.
some awesome people out there. It's been amazing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Got to meet you. I'm super excited. If
Yeah,
you're ever in Colorado, you definitely hit us up.
definitely for sure. Awesome.
So,
Cool. Well, thank you for being on the show. Thanks for sharing and I look forward to maybe a part 2 sometime.
awesome. No, thank you so much, Misty. It was
Cool.
my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in for the podcast. Eric, thank you for sharing all of your stories, your inspiration, your brand, Nozou. Loved hearing everything about it. And classes are forming on the schedule for lunamoonsupyoga.com. If you're in the area or you're traveling to Michigan, come check it out this summer. Got a lot of cool events coming up. Classes start this month, end of May. And we start on the land first, and that kind of got developed for beginners. And if you're not a beginner and you still want to get your sea legs back, maybe you took a year off last year, come out, come check it out. Small class types for the land portion. And there's only going to be 2 of them, pre-season to the paddleboarding. Water's still warming up. It's like about 59 degrees-ish, probably a little less than that out in the middle. But anyway, classes, they're forming, lunamoonsupyoga.com. And I've got some new boards for sale too, inflatables. So where else can you go and demo a board? Come check it out, get a hold of me, send me an email, and we can set something up so that you could check out a board before you buy it. These are awesome boards, awesome to even travel with. Beautiful bag that it comes with for storage, and the fin, of course, and the pump. So lunamoonsupyoga.com. And I'm Misty, and I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast as much as I am, as much as my guests are. We're having fun, and we're keeping it real.